We're going to be doing things a bit different. Instead of something like a tutorial, we will be doing a code along. Like I'm going to be just coding, sharing my thoughts as I code, and you could just follow. Uh, and I think there isn't as much demand for programming tutorials nowadays due to AI and stuff. But there might be some people interested in seeing how actual coding real life projects work. So I'm going more towards that direction. Uh, anyway, I'm going to talk about this some other time. For now, we can just start coding. Here, I'm just going to open my text editor, and here I'm just going to open live HTML to serve the code. Okay, we can just open it here. Okay, so this is where we left off last time. And I want to fix this. The first thing I need to do is I need to place all of the elements in the place they should be. Okay, so how am I going to do this? Let me think. Okay, it probably starts in the JavaScript file. Okay, I have all the pieces already set up. So the way I'm thinking of this is I could start by getting the data attribute. And I don't really remember the syntax for that. JS data attribute. Okay. Okay, it's under dataset. So we can just close this off. We can say, let's try to get the rows first. So we can say pieces. Actually, we can say piece dot dataset dot, I think it was column or row. If I'm not forgetting. I think it was row. And let me just print it out. Okay. Let's see how that turns out to be. Okay. Seems to be undefined. Okay, let's just print out the dataset. Interesting. Okay, let me try to open up my HTML on the side here. Okay, okay. So each piece you should have a row. Okay, here's the problem. It shouldn't be row. It should actually be data row. Okay. Data row here. Should fix this probably everywhere. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the new format. As you know, like everything is about AI these days, and everything is fast-paced tutorials because everyone just assumes that you're going to be using AI to generate most of your code. And I haven't really been using AI since it's rose in popularity. And this is not like a flex or something. It's just uh, this is not like a job to me. It's more of an enjoyment, right? I enjoy coding, so I don't think I really want to give AI any part of that. It won't really benefit me as much. Yeah, it might shave off some time of my workflow, but it won't really affect me that much. So I'm choosing just to ignore AI. Maybe that's a bad choice. I don't know. I'm not sure yet, but I'm not really working with people these days. I'm more working on personal projects. So yeah, and I'm working in the physics field more than computer science field, so it doesn't really affect me that much. But there used to be so many channels on YouTube that are just purely for coding, and I can't remember the name and I can't find the channel anymore. And it hadn't uploaded in like 7 years, I think. But there was a YouTube channel where a guy just sits down and codes for an hour or 2 hours, just random clone projects like Twitter clone, Shopify clone. If you remember the name, just I will really like to know. I forgot the channel and it's been like 2 years since I've watched any videos, but I remember that there was a lot of stuttering. It wasn't really organized, the content. It was mostly just a guy searching on Google and stuff. And I remember I really liked that and I really enjoyed watching that and I watched it for hours. So maybe there is an audience for that today. And since people are not really watching tutorials nowadays, and since the YouTube channel itself is new, yeah, you can see how all of the content is here now. Since the YouTube channel is new, I just decided that it's the best time to experiment. Doesn't really matter. It's probably like maybe 2 people will watch this video, it doesn't matter. So maybe a bit of a decrease in production quality, but uh, I'll leave. This is the sort of video I would personally watch. So yeah, okay. Okay, so we have all of the content here. Okay, there seems to be a misplaced. Okay, here this one is misplaced. This should be 8. Okay, so we have the rows, and here's how I'm going to do it. First of all, are they in numbers? Hmm. Uh, type of. I just want to check. Okay, they are a string. So here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to create a mapping, position mapping. Sorry. Uh, and this is just going to be an array. There would be 2 entries into this array. The first one is for the rows. So, so 1 would be 1. 2 should map to 2. I'm probably missing a better way of doing this. 3 should map to 3. And let me just duplicate this. Okay, so 4, okay, so that's 3. 4 should map to 4. 5 should map to 5. So 6. And 7 should map to 7. 8. 8. Okay. And what I'm here, I want to do the same thing for the columns. A should map to 1. B should map to 2. C should map to 3. D should map to 4. Then it's E, 5, F. If there is a better way, I might return to this and fix it. It seems a bit repetitive, but I'm not sure of a better way, and I just want to get the initial idea here before doing any optimizations. Sorry. So here we have all of the mapping. So what I can do is I can start by finding the row, the appropriate number. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say position. Okay, I'm going to say const row position map at index of 0. at index of 0. Let me just console.log the row here, and I want to just comment out this for now. Okay. Okay, so from this I can probably say find piece dataset row. I'm not sure if this is how you use it. Okay. Okay, yeah. So it is find find for the mapping where the mapping at index of 0 or at index of 1, or is it at index of 0? Yeah, okay, I think this is it. Okay, yeah, so again, this is not a tutorial, so I'm going to assume that you have a basic understanding of JavaScript. But basically what we're doing here is we are saying from the row mapping, we want to find using the mapping, using each array with the first element of the array is equal to the dataset row. So that just gives us the value that we need. Okay. Okay, this works perfectly. So now after doing this, we should just grab the first element, I think. So let me just paste it, also log row. Okay, so now hopefully if we type typo, it should be number. And you might be asking why just not use a regular converter, type converter, like using just a number on the dataset row. That could work, but I'm just future proofing it since I'm also going to be needing this logic for the columns, and I can't really convert A to 1. So yeah. Okay, so okay, so now we can just go to the piece, and perhaps I could just let me just quit out of this. We don't really need it. Yeah. Okay. So I can say piece dot style dot top, and this should equal something pixel. Let me say, for example, 800 pixel. Okay, they move down. What about 0 pixels? They're up. Okay. So I want to do is what I want to do is I want to just do some calculations here. Sorry, I've recently had a cold. I can't stop coughing for some reason. So the way I want to do this is I want to say, so it is 64, right? So if I say 0, it's at the top. If I say 64, it moves down a bit. Okay, I have to know how wide square size is. 96. Okay, so it's not 64, it's 96. So let me just open. If it is 96 here. Okay, so it moves to the second one. If it is 96 times 2, for example, it moves to the third. Okay, great. So I want to do is I want to say 96 times, and I want to track this as a variable. I want to say const. This is going to be size So this is a constant variable, so I'm just going to say square size. This is you use all caps most of the time for caps for constants, but I just want to make this consistent, so I'm just going to be using the regular JavaScript casing square size here. This should be 96, and if we change it, we just have to change it in one place. So square size times row -1, because we're starting from row 1, but if in the row 1 we have to make it 0, so we just have to decrease 1 more unit from it. So let's see how this works. Okay, so you can see it is working kinda, but it is centered on the top. It's anchored on the top, and we want to actually center it horizontally here. How are we gonna do this? Okay, I actually know how to do this because I've worked on similar projects a couple of times. What I need to do here is I need to know the piece size. I think it's 64. Let me just check. Okay, let me just scroll back here, and I can select one of the pieces. Okay, 72. So I want to make sure that's the case. So height should be 72 pixels. Okay, maybe let's decrease it. Maybe 72 is too big. Okay, actually I like 72. It's fine enough. Okay, yeah. So here now I have this to be 72. So I have to actually translate it down by half of its width. And the reason I'm doing this is that the anchor point of the elements is here on the top left. That's, I think, the default for JavaScript. And I have to take half of it and translate it down, meaning I'm moving the anchor point halfway to the center. Okay. Don't worry, you if you are new to programming, sometimes most of the time you face similar problems in your field. You always face similar problems. So like if you're a backend developer, you know solutions to certain problems because you always face them and you have struggled with them 1 or 2 times initially. And the same thing here. I know this because I've worked with it a couple of times. So I want to first, let me put this. I want to get this, then I want to add piece size divided by 2 to it. Okay. It seems I may need to subtract it from here. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, so it's now working as I expected it. Okay, we got 96 pixels, and from 96 pixels, okay, a bit confusing. Perhaps the problem is that the actual image has some additional space between it. Maybe that's the problem. We can maybe use padding 0, margin 0. Okay, so yeah, there are quite a bit of additional space in between. So maybe just decrease this. piece size, maybe decrease this a bit. Okay, at this point it's just trial and error. 64. Okay, just a bit under 64, 48. Around here it is centered. It's very difficult because I haven't prepared the images well, as it seems. I should have like cleaved everything extra from it. That's my fault, but I think this is usable enough. It is centered enough. In reality, the first approach will just work. Just don't worry about this. We are translating it to the square it needs to be, and we are adding some factor to center it. Just think of it like that. Okay, how do we proceed? Now we have to work on its horizontal positioning. So let's do that. Const column equals position map 0 find. Actually, now we want to go to the first one. Then I say probably here to find using the mapping at index of 0 should be equal to this time piece.dataset.column. Hopefully that doesn't provide any errors here. Okay, no errors. So we can say piece.style.top equals some amount of pixels here. Okay, so we can say square size. Instead of top, actually, this should be left. Times row minus 1 plus. First of all, let's check if this is actually correct. Okay. Yeah, that's doesn't matter. Okay. There seems to be some motion, but it seems to be a bit messy here. Okay, it's probably something to do with the mapping. Okay, yeah, that's the problem. We have to do the first. I think this will fix it. Okay, let's just console log the columns here. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 8. Then again. Okay, so why isn't it working? Okay, we are doing row here, which is the problem. And this should hopefully work. Okay, it is working. Nice. So again, it is not centered. So let's just try to center it here by adding a factor. This is called a correction factor, by the way. It's something common in mathematics or in physics and stuff. Sometimes there is a variation due to some inconsistencies. This time it is of my fault for not preparing the images better, but okay, it is working. Okay, so it is centered at this point. So yeah, nice. Okay, I want to add one more thing here. This time, let's go to the CSS. And I actually want to make this pointer cursor should be the pointer. So when we just hover over them, it's obvious that we have to click them. Okay, You can just close off this. This is nice. Okay, so basically it is working. This is how we just set up our board. Now we just have to work with movement. We have to be able to move this one wherever we want. And let's try to achieve a bit of that here today. I'm trying to think how this would work. Okay, so let's go back to JavaScript. For each piece, we want to say piece dot, sorry, add event listener. And it's going to be click event. And we're going to be running some function. Just going to say console.log clicked, clicked on piece. Okay, so maybe refresh this. Okay, so the host reload suddenly stops working for some reason. Okay. Okay, so it is working for all of them. Now I just don't want to track the clicking. I just want to know how am I going to do this? In chess, you just click it and you move it to another square. But at least today I want to just show some response that it is being clicked. So what I want to do is perhaps, first of all, I want to make the background like something like red if it is clicked. That's a good start, and we can work on the movement next time. So as we click it, we want to find the element to be. We actually have the element, so we can say we just have to find the square inside of the correct position. You can say const square, current square, we can call it current square, equals documents dot query selector. And okay, we're gonna have to work with CSS query selectors and CSS query selectors for data attribute selector. Okay, so it's basically this one. Is there anything specific for data attributes? Okay, no, there isn't. Okay, so yeah, let's just say where it is going to be dot square. So I'm actually going to open it here. So the square is here. So board, and let me move down. So board row square here. Okay, first the row. The row should have piece dot dataset dot row. And let me just console.log this current square. Now, obviously, this will give me the row instead of the square. So if I click here, for example, it should give me the first row. Okay, failed to execute query selection on document. It's not a valid selection. Okay. Let's see. Let's do step by step. Board row. Query selector. First, why isn't this working? IMG. Okay, so it is working, but it's not finding board row. Okay, it is finding the board row. Now we want to find the board row. For example, we want to say add data row, right? And should I use something here? Data row and just row, or piece dot dataset dot row. For example, this should give me 1, this should give me 2, this should give me 3, okay, 7, then 8. Okay, great. But now we want to find the square, so let me just break this down. And after this, within it, I want to find dot board row square having data column of piece dataset column. Hopefully this works. So A, okay, B, C. This is A as well, but it's a different one. Okay, so we have found the square. Now we just have to say current square dot dot style dot background color. Let's say red for that. We'll change it in a minute. Interesting, because it seems to be opposite. That's very interesting. So is it getting the correct row? No, it is getting the correct column, but it's not getting the correct row. Okay, that's because it is. Okay. That's a bit weird. Okay. So the first seems to be something wrong here. Dataset.row. Let me try to console log that. So 1, 1, 2, 7. Okay, so it should be finding it. Okay, I like this kind of problems because you know that you're on the right track, but something is missing. Maybe I have to do something like this. Did I change? Okay. Okay, so let me just for now, let me just cut this part. And instead of the background color, let me do current square dot opacity should equal 10%. So when I click this, immediately. So when I click this, I'm getting this one. Okay, so data row 1 is actually the bottom one, which is not correct. Oh, okay, so it is not correct because the black ones shouldn't even be here. So we were correct, but it's not the problem in JavaScript. Okay. It's something we have to fix in the HTML. Let's do that. I want to move to the HTML file here. Okay, row 1. So, for example, the white rook should be on row 1, column A. But if we go to the elements board, row 1 is this. Shouldn't be the case. It probably has to do with the CSS we applied, where we just changed the flex direction. So square flex, I'll just remove this. I'll also remove this. Okay, it is now working properly, but I don't like that the white pieces are on the top. We could assume that the player is playing as black. So, okay, that could work. Okay, so you can obviously select pieces. But if I select one of them, and if I select another one, it is getting selected with it. So I want to change that. And yeah, let me just, how do I change that? So I want to track const current selected square. Initially, it should be nothing. So, and this should be let, since it's a variable, that's going to change pretty much always. So how am I going to do this? The first thing I want to do is I want to define the currently selected square through row and column. I want to say current selected square should equal an array where the first element is piece dataset.row and the second element is piece.dataset.column. And I want to just paint console.log this. And let me see. 2D. So it is on 2, A, B, C, D. Okay, so it is working. Let me just click this now, and it is changing, as you can see. So now what we have to do is first we have to say that before we apply this actually, I'm going to give it a starting point. I'm going to say A1, A1. Actually, here, instead of giving it a data set, I'm going to give it a row. Okay, actually, I'm going to give it, I was correct. Okay. So here, initially, I'm going to give it some value. I might go something like A1 or 1A. it doesn't matter since that's not going to be applied right away. So when I click it, it should still work. Then I want to first take the previous version of this, and I want to remove the color. So just copy this, paste it. Okay. And instead of current, obviously there is probably a better way of optimizing this, but I'm just gonna do it here, and maybe in the future I'm gonna return. And I'm gonna say current selected square. Index of 0. Current selected square as index of 1. Then I want to say brief square, the style the background color. And let me move here and find a square color here, the default. Interesting. So also I could just do unset for now. And just remove this. Let's see how this works. It's probably not correct. Okay, yeah. The previous one is getting unset, which is the problem currently. So we know which one is selected, but we just don't know how to unset it. And okay, now we have to apply the correct color. Here's the problem. For these colors, okay, so for these colors, for 1A, 1C, 1E, and stuff like that, we have to apply the darker color. And for the others, we have to apply the lighter color. And that's where the problem is coming. So is there any way in JavaScript to apply CSS styling back? Apply default CSS styling back to an element in JavaScript. Okay, so let's create the inline side, use default to original style sheet one. So I can say element of style dot null dot let dot. Okay, maybe that would work if I say null, but okay, null could work, could work. I can see that being a reasonable way. Okay, yeah, so you can see it is working very nicely. But here I don't really want to do red, full red. Let me select this. I want to select here, and instead of full red, let me just select one of these colors. Actually, maybe a reddish color would work. Not that much. Okay. Just something like this. So we can apply it as we do normally here. Instead of red, I'm going to say. So yeah, okay, very nice. So now we know which element is selected. Next time we will have to work with moving it. Okay, I think this is enough for today. Okay, it's probably been quite some time. Let me just save it here and quit. Thanks for watching. I actually enjoyed this. This was actually fun. Instead of just a tutorial, just sharing my thoughts as I code. Hopefully it is as fun for you as it is for me. Uh, I'm gonna be continuing doing this, maybe, maybe not. I haven't decided. Uh, I'm gonna be using the main channel probably for tutorials, and I'm gonna be using this channel to videos like this, just sharing. So hopefully that's fine and you enjoy it. I know that there might be an audience for this type of content. Probably older people because just AI and stuff. Today, people getting into the development and design world are very reliant on AI and they don't really like this sort of content. But hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.